Breaking news tonight, police releasing 2 ransom notes in connection to the Nancy Guthrie case. What they reveal, the new details in the notes that may be from whoever kidnapped Nancy 6 months ago, the heartbreaking update in one of them, and the stunning apology. Why police are releasing the notes now. Also breaking tonight, the fiery jet crash at a military base in San Diego. Look at that, an F-35 hitting the ground and bursting into flames. The pilot ejecting. What went wrong? The surprise reversal just in, the Trump administration dropping the case against an Olympian accused of vandalizing the reflecting pool, what the government just admitted. The new warning that America's water supply may be at risk for cyber attacks. The FBI describing attempts on 7 states already, and the controversial finger pointing from President Trump on who's to blame. Migrant crisis chaos. New video from a Spanish enclave. Cars torched after tens of thousands of people raced to cross the border from Morocco. The deadly rush killing dozens. Former NFL star Tony Romo now on leave from his on-air role after his arrest. The former pro player replacing him for now. New video of a building collapse caught on camera, crushing cars on the street. Amazon getting hundreds of millions of dollars in tariff refunds, and now they say they're giving it back to customers. And our series, Great Americans. Tonight, it's the man behind this catchphrase. Bam! How Emeril's American dream came true as a celebrity chef, and why he's still kicking it up a notch. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Llamas.
Good evening. I'm Hallie Jackson in for Tom tonight, and we begin with a major development in the Nancy Guthrie case. Police releasing not 1, but 2 ransom notes that may be from the person or people who kidnapped Guthrie earlier this year. The Pima County Sheriff's Department in Arizona sharing the first note addressed directly to Savannah, demanding money for Nancy's return, saying they have her and that she was safe but scared. That was the first one. And then a big shift in tone and a heart-wrenching update in the second note. It says, quoting here, Nancy perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature now. You see it there. They later apologize, saying, we are truly sorry. It comes months after the FBI released these images of a suspect from Nancy's doorbell camera. And officials say they're sharing these notes now for a reason. They think the writing could help shake loose new leads. Those have been scarce in the 6 months since Nancy disappeared. And this week, our friend and colleague Savannah released this emotional plea to bring her home. Liz Kreutz has been covering this case from the very beginning and starts us off tonight.
Tonight, the Pima County Sheriff's Office for the first time releasing the 2 ransom notes that were sent to local news outlets in the days following Nancy Guthrie's abduction on February 1st. The first note, which was sent 1 day after she was taken, begins with this chilling message. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. It goes on to give the demand, $4 million in USD before 5 p.m. on Thursday the 5th, or $6 million by 5 p.m. on Monday the 9th. The note says if the payment is received, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. But says if it is not, she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you. The note ends with a Bitcoin link for the payment, redacted by police, and a final line. She had a white smartwatch on the floor of the foot of her bed, and the white floodlight in backyard was destroyed, which you can see here on drone footage. Savannah shared this video a day after reports of this note became public.
We, too, have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk.
2 days later, the alleged kidnapper sent the second note. It says, we did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We want your family to know this and hope you all can find peace. We are truly sorry. The next day, the family shared this.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Tonight, 6 months since the abduction, the Pima County Sheriff's Office saying they're making the notes public now in the hope someone recognizes something in them and comes forward.
Liz is joining us live now. And Liz, to that point, officials really want people to take a close look at the notes, how they're written. They are hoping for new leads.
Yeah, Holly, that's right. The Sheriff's Department says that these notes reveal distinctive patterns of word choice, syntax, and phrasing, and that they provide insight into the suspect's mindset and motives. For instance, they do point out the evolution of the writer's tone. There's definitely that shift between the first and second note. Officials absolutely are hoping these clues could jumpstart new tips that help them lead them either to Nancy or whoever is behind these notes. Holly.
Liz Kreutz, thank you. We love Savannah. We are thinking of her and her family. And if you have any information in the Nancy Guthrie case, please call the FBI tip line, 1-800-CALL-FBI. To that fiery fighter jet crash in San Diego now, smoke rising from the military base where an F-35 slammed into the ground. Courtney Kuby has more.
Video shows giant plumes of smoke rising from the site where an F-35 single-seater Marine fighter jet crashed on a U.S. military base near San Diego this morning. The black cloud of smoke visible from miles away. In the video, you can see emergency vehicles rushing to the scene, then shooting water high into the air and onto the burning wreckage before the flames could spread to nearby fields. A Marine Corps spokesperson says the pilot ejected safely and was taken to a nearby medical facility with non-life-threatening injuries. The fighter jet, a stealth aircraft that cost more than $100 million, crashing on the flight line of Marine Corps Air Station Miramar with other military aircraft close by. The airbase, the original location for the Navy's Top Gun program. This incident, the third in a string of military crashes in the western U.S. this summer. Last month, another Marine Corps fighter jet from the same unit at Miramar crashed in Washington state. That pilot ejected from the F-A-18 Hornet just moments before the plane crashed into a mountain near Seattle. The pilot suffered minor injuries. And just 2 days later, a B-52 bomber crashed at Edwards Air Force Base in California, killing all 8 on board.
The cause of today's crash is not immediately clear, but is under investigation. Hallie?
Courtney Kuby, thank you. To the new warnings tonight about the safety of America's water supply, with the FBI now investigating cyber attacks in more than half a dozen states, and now growing questions about whether Iran is behind those attacks. Gabe Gutierrez explains.
Tonight, the FBI warning cities across the country about cyber attacks to municipal water systems. Writing utility companies in at least 7 states have reported incidents to the FBI, and some of that activity degraded water operations. In Minnesota alone, more than 30 municipal water systems have been targeted, and a senior law enforcement official has told NBC News that attack bears all the hallmarks of Iranian-backed hackers. Though today, President Trump denied Iran was behind it.
I don't think so. I blame it on Minnesota because they're grossly incompetent.
Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz firing back. Trump knows exactly who's responsible for this attack and knows that other states were hit too, adding it further illustrates there's no plan to win a war with Iran.
Iran's got bigger problems than worrying about Minnesota.
Back in April, after the start of the Iran war, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, warned of Iran-affiliated hackers trying to exploit a specific piece of equipment.
This is a wake-up call, not a catastrophe.
Cynthia Kaiser is a former deputy director of the FBI's cyber division.
Is the water supply safe?
Yes, there does not appear to have been any effect on water quality as a part of these attacks. But the reality is that we have to be looking to the future about when these types of attacks could become a lot more consequential.
Cybersecurity experts we spoke with say municipal water systems can be easy targets if they're connected to the internet. Hallie?
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. Overseas now, with the new images of migrants surging into a Spanish enclave, sparking reaction around the world. The chaos turning deadly, with dozens of people killed. Raf Sanchez has the latest.
Tonight, a deadly border crisis in North Africa becoming a global political flashpoint. Stunning images show thousands of Moroccans surging through checkpoints into the Spanish territory of Ceuta, a tiny peninsula and Europe's only land border with an African nation. These cars torched on the Moroccan side of the border. Authorities in Ceuta say at least 60,000 migrants have crossed since yesterday, many hoping for better opportunities in Europe.
It's been a very tough experience to go from the ocean.
Most coming by land, but others attempting a dangerous journey by sea. This man appears to emerge from the water with a bicycle. At least 57 people have died so far, authorities say, and most of the migrants have already returned home. But the images of chaos have rattled Europe and been seized on by President Trump.
And that same thing's going to happen to us if the Republicans don't get elected.
Spain has now sent in the military to restore order, and the country's progressive prime minister has appealed for calm. But the crisis exposing deep divides among European Union member states. Italy's conservative leader suggesting the suspension of the EU's open border policy, which allows for passport-free travel between 29 countries. A migrant crisis once again shaking politics worldwide. Raf Sanchez, NBC News.
Back here at home, star NFL announcer Tony Romo is now on leave from CBS Sports. It comes days after the former Cowboys quarterback was arrested for allegedly operating a vehicle under the influence. Here's Jesse Kirsch.
All right, sir.
Did I pass this test?
You turn around.
No, I didn't, huh?
Accused of operating a vehicle while under the influence, tonight one of the NFL's biggest broadcasting stars is now officially benched, too. In a brief statement, CBS Sports announcing lead game analyst Tony Romo is on leave until further notice, just days after his arrest in Milwaukee.
All right, how many drinks have you had?
This edited body camera footage released by the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office shows Romo being pulled over July 23rd. A deputy says an open bottle of an alcoholic beverage was observed on the passenger side of the vehicle. Separately, a deputy talking to Romo about what was allegedly found in a backpack.
There were a few shooters in there that I observed.
Yeah. Any of them drink?
Okay.
I don't think any of them were drink, right?
Okay. Don't move your head. Eyes and eyes only, please, okay?
Okay.
The video also showing Romo appear to struggle through a series of field sobriety tests.
You're under arrest for operating while under the influence, okay?
The former Dallas Cowboys star quarterback is now the lead NFL color commentator for CBS Sports. CBS tapping J.J. Watt to fill in during Romo's absence. NBC News reached out to Romo's attorney and representatives for comment. So far, we have not heard back. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
When we return in 60 seconds, the DOJ dropping the charges in the Washington reflecting pool criminal case, who they're now blaming for the damage. And our Great American Tonight, one of the country's most iconic chefs, will tell you where Emeril's signature catchphrase really came from. Stay with us. Back now with a surprising reversal by the Trump administration late today, dropping charges against a former Olympian accused of damaging the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial. Prosecutors now saying the contractor is to blame. Here's Garrett Hake.
Tonight, in a stunning reversal, federal prosecutors dropping their felony case against former Olympic canoeist David Hurd, who had been charged with damaging the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. The government conceding new evidence only recently provided by the Department of Interior shows, quote, the damage was the result of a botched installation and not vandalism. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro personally announced the grand jury indictment against Hearn.
The National Park Service employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands.
Hearn forcefully denied those claims.
I didn't think I'd done anything wrong, so I had no reason to think I was going to be arrested.
President Trump had made the pool's more than $14 million refurbishment and repainting a major federal priority ahead of celebrations for America's 250th anniversary, repeatedly blaming the pool's subsequent problems on vandals without evidence.
The beautiful reflecting pond where we did some job, somebody comes along and starts cutting it with a knife.
Tonight, the pool is empty and still being refurbished. Hearn's attorney telling NBC News the federal government owes his client an apology. Hallie?
Garrett Hake at the White House, thank you. When we return, the building collapse caught on camera, how construction workers at the site, look at that, made it out alive. Plus, how you can get an Amazon refund if you had to pay tariffs on stuff you bought. And And dramatic video shows the moment a building collapsed here at home in Mount Vernon, New York. Look at that. It crashes right into the street. See, it barely misses somebody on a scooter. Parked cars crushed under the debris. Workers had been shoring up the building after a previous fire when the whole thing came crashing down. Good news here, nobody was hurt. And Amazon says it's received $600 million in tariff refunds and plans to pass along some money to customers. The move comes after the Supreme Court ruling that invalidated a major part of President Trump's tariff agenda, forcing the government to pay back companies that had been hit by those tariffs. It's not clear yet when customers can expect to see any money back in their accounts. When we come back, we will kick it up a notch with Emeril Lagasse, what he loves about America and how he's passing the tongs to the next generation. Next. Finally tonight, our series, Great Americans, where we talk with those who have achieved so much about their life and this country. Tonight, an iconic chef who's gaining new fame, going viral these days, telling Tom about his journey from the kitchen to the TVs in all our homes. Our Great American tonight, Emeril Lagasse.
What do you love about America?
There's a lot of things. The freedom of pursuing opportunity, the freedom of being creative and innovative, and mentoring people to be the next generation of moving the needle.
Another notch! Stick around! 66-year-old chef and restaurateur Emeril Lagasse, best known for his world-acclaimed restaurants, best-selling cookbooks, and this catchphrase. Bam! Never anticipating a career in front of millions, eager to learn from him.
This television business is not easy.
Raised in Fall River, Massachusetts, by parents in the textile trade, cooking began at home with his mother.
She was my first influence of cooking, maybe 7 or 8 years old. We had a vegetable garden in the backyard, and she taught me how to make vegetable soup.
Do you remember what it was about cooking that you loved so much?
I think the first thing was probably about making people happy.
Pork fat rules, baby! That ethos of hospitality would land Lagasse in Americans' homes as one of the country's first TV celebrity chefs.
His enthusiasm and passion for food is exquisite to watch.
He really has brought cooking to the forefront for Americans.
Fold it in. Look, it's going to melt. It's going to be happy, okay?
Connecting up close with audiences on Emeril Live.
Little bam, 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 bam!
Where does BAM come from?
We were shooting 8 shows a day.
8 shows a day?
8. Second show, third show, fourth show, the dishes are all on the table, and now the crew wants to break. They would come and just devour the table. We come back after lunch, and I'm trying to now do the next 3 or 4 shows. They're kind of like dozing off on me because
food coma.
They've ate so much food, right?
Oh
so BAM came to wake them up.
BAM! While Lagasse has restaurants across America and at sea on cruise ships,
Still one of my favorite dishes.
many of his dishes are synonymous with the distinct Creole and Cajun flavors of New Orleans.
Dollar for dollar, I think that we eat better here than any place in the world.
If I would say just pick one, what is your favorite dish?
Wow. My version of New Orleans barbecue shrimp.
Favorite dessert?
No question about it. Banana cream pie.
This city became his home for 4 decades.
The music, the food, the architecture, most importantly, the people, the variety of cultures that made me feel very, very warm and like home.
Here, he established the Emeril Lagasse Foundation, raising more than $24 million for children's charities. When a series of setbacks crippled New Orleans, Emeril was forced to make tough decisions. First, after Katrina, and then COVID.
We closed 5 restaurants with COVID, and it gave me a lot of time to think about how we were doing things and how we're going to do it better.
He saw a chance to rebuild and reinvent, this time alongside his son, EJ.
Well, you know, it was really sort of a rebirth for us.
At 22, EJ became the youngest chef in history to lead a 2-Michelin star restaurant, taking over as co-owner of Emeril's in New Orleans.
It's a privilege of a lifetime to be able to do it arm in arm, you know, with your dad.
And for Emeril, he still lives the way he cooks, always kicking it up a notch.
Can you remember a time where you felt most proud to be an American?
Every day. I just wake up every day and I just try to do a little better than I did yesterday.
Lessons that go well beyond the kitchen. That's Nightly News for this Friday. I'm Hallie Jackson. For all of us here at NBC, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you this weekend.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.